Hey guys, Ravi here. I'm back with another video. First of all, I'd like to say hopefully the lighting is fine. I'm trying my best here. Not how I wanted to do my last video of the year, but anyway, here we are. As you read in the title, I'm going to be talking about Apple. This year alone, Apple has done quite a lot. 2019 is Apple's year. It's Apple's best year yet. Now, did you know in the third quarter of 2018, Apple made close to $53.5 billion in revenue, selling close to 42 million iPhones that quarter. This year's fourth quarter, Apple made close to $86 billion in revenue, basically made 60% more than they did in last year's quarter. So when I say 2019 was Apple's year, I mean it. 2019 was not like any other year, with major events like the banning of Huawei phones, Samsung leaving China, to Xiaomi's dominance on India's growing phone market. This year, Apple decided to emphasize on services and its importance, although they did have their fair share of rocky software updates and security flaws. The notable one being the report issued by Google claiming that there were security flaws in Apple's new security updates with iOS 13. The notable one being that hackers were able to access user phones. But anyway, we're not here to talk about the pitfall of Apple's 2019. Instead, we are here to talk about what led to Apple having their best year yet. iOS 13 firstly was an absolute hit. iOS this year stood out the most with new features like dark mode. Yeah, dark mode. Slap on dark mode. People literally eat that shit up. Unfortunately, that's the sad truth about apps nowadays. Not only that, remember, Apple was focused on services, so they rolled out iPad OS and TV OS. macOS Catalina was a huge success compared to its predecessor, macOS Mojave. We saw some redesign in certain apps and minor updates to feature people are now well acquainted with. A lot of devices this year had so many updates. Like this year alone pretty much was updates for Apple. They weren't really focused on devices this year. We saw iOS 13 come out, saw iPad OS with that support for mice and keyboard, even TV OS, which kind of refreshed the Apple TV and kind of made it more appealing. AirPods Pro dropped and it was a huge success. Following the trends like iPhone 11 Pro, the Mac Pro, and the Pro Display XDR, it was only right to make a Pro version of the trendy AirPods. Kinda stupid, but hey, it's how the world rotates, I guess, how it turns around and everything. It had new features like noise cancelling, which were surprisingly good, and it improved upon the wireless connectivity. The next point is that iPhone 11 had more for less. Apple's new 11 series had the consumer in mind. With their flagship model featuring an ultra-wide lens, they decided to make their base model as cheap as the XR, which was the highest selling iPhone last year. Considering the XS Max, people really loved it and everything. Surprisingly enough, people took the iPhone 11 positively with its long-lasting battery and durability. The next point is that the Mac Pro made a comeback after a very long time, and it was only right to make an upgrade to it, give it a fresher look. The famed Apple Workstation series, dubbed the Mac Pro, made a surprising comeback. It came with a beefy Pro Display XDR that boasted specs that only their pro clientele would appreciate. It has specs beyond one's imagination, boasting a 56-core Xeon CPU to 1.2 terabytes worth of ECC server-grade memory. The other action that spelled Apple's success was the rollout of new services like Apple News Plus, which is like a digital magazine and newspaper retailer, Apple Card, which is a credit card service. They had things like, if I'm not wrong, 1% return if you use the card, 2% if you used Apple Pay, and 3% if you use the card in Apple stores, online and offline. They also had Apple TV Plus, which was their response to Netflix and the up-and-coming Disney Plus. And lastly, they also had Apple Arcade, a games service where you pay a certain price for a membership and you get access to so many games. Now 2020 won't be any easy, as you see the likes of Microsoft stepping up the game with the Surface Duo. Samsung of course would start the year with a bang by releasing their new Galaxy, so there's something to look forward to next year, and I cannot wait to see what they have in the new Galaxy 11. The most notable release next year being Huawei's new CPU, as Snapdragon and Huawei are deciding to tap into the computer market and make things like 8-core CPUs, motherboards, and maybe you never know, you might see RAM and GPUs. Also, more eyes will be on Apple next year to see the next big thing that they're going to come up with, since this year we saw unfortunately the AirPower being cancelled due to technical limitations and issues. You never know, next year we might see a new one. These are the reasons why Apple were able to make 2019 a very productive year. Now I'm aware it is year end and this is my last video of the year, not how I expected to end it. But nonetheless, I want to say thank you. Thank you for getting me to 100 subscribers. Thank you so much for making 2019 my best year too. I wish you happy holidays and a happy new year. Cannot wait as this channel will reach greater heights thanks to you guys and your never-ending support. Happy new year once again in advance, and I guess I'll see you. Peace.